Today, we're diving straight into a fascinating piece of internal political drama. We've got our hands on a piece of source material that's part personal grievance, part political ultimatum, and honestly, completely unfiltered. We're going to break down the specific rhetoric, the underlying strategy, and the ultimate goals of this really intense document. And just to be clear, we're not taking sides here. Our goal is simply to understand how this kind of high-stakes, crisis-level communication operates behind closed doors. You know, when political movements face internal pressure, the language they use to fight each other can be incredibly revealing, and this text gives us a front-row seat to that exact phenomenon.
Look at the sheer intensity of this opening quote. I mean, it's in all caps. The author isn't easing us into an argument here. They are practically shouting right off the bat. Using all caps like this isn't just a stylistic quirk. It's a rhetorical megaphone. It tells us right away that we're dealing with a deeply personal, emotionally explosive rant focused on a perceived lack of authenticity. By starting at a level 10, the author is making sure you can't just passively consume this information. You're immediately thrust into a state of high alert.
To make sense of this chaotic text, we're going to break it down systematically through these 5 steps. 1. An explosive accusation. 2. Dissecting the character claims. 3. The memorial incidents. 4. A plea to the president. And 5. The future of TPUSA.
Section 1. An explosive accusation, setting the stage for the grievance.
So before they even get to their core arguments, the author does something really interesting to build credibility. They use their past in the entertainment industry to justify their harsh judgment of Erica's authenticity. The text explicitly says that growing up in that industry means they've been around a lot of phonies. This is a classic, highly effective rhetorical move, right? Before launching into the specific attacks, they have to establish why we should trust their ability to spot fake behavior. By citing the entertainment industry, they're attempting to turn their own subjective dislike into an objective, almost professional assessment. It's basically a way of saying, hey, I'm not just angry, I'm an expert in spotting exactly this kind of deception.
Section 2. Dissecting the character claims. The escalation of labels.
This part brilliantly illustrates a wild escalation. The text just piles on these incredibly heavy, emotionally charged allegations without offering any immediate evidence. The author starts by calling Erica a threat to my country, then speculates she operates like a military or intelligence operative, and finally lands on diagnosing her as definitely some kind of sociopath. I mean, wow, this isn't just a disagreement over policy. This is a full-blown attempt to paint the subject as a literal, calculating danger to society. It's rapid-fire character assassination designed to completely shock the reader. The psychological trick here is that if you throw enough severe labels at a target, the reader might actually start to believe that at least some underlying element of danger must be true.
And to really drive that absolute rejection home, the source uses this deeply visceral, physical description of their disgust. By stating that every cell in my body shudders, the author is totally bypassing logical argument and aiming straight for a biological reaction. They are framing their contempt as an instinctual, involuntary physical response. It's actually a really powerful way to try and infect the reader with that exact same feeling of unease. It rips the argument right out of the realm of intellectual debate and turns it into a matter of primal survival instincts.
Section 3. The memorial incidents. The alleged evidence. Now, when we finally separate the core grievances, we can see exactly what bothered the author. After throwing out all those massive claims of sociopathy and covert intelligence operations, this is the actual tangible evidence they present. It comes down to a bizarre verbal declaration and a public video they deemed highly inappropriate. Specifically, a dramatic quote shouted at a memorial and a physical action of the subject laying across the deceased Charlie's body. The author uses these highly uncomfortable, emotionally fraught moments of public mourning to retroactively validate all those extreme labels they deployed earlier. It's a huge leap in logic, taking awkward moments of grief and holding them up as undeniable proof of deep-seated malice. But they go a step further with that second incident. Notice the specific phrase here. Horribly sinister. The author frames the simple act of releasing a memorial video as deeply malicious. To them, it wasn't just strange behavior in a moment of grief. Making it public pushed it way beyond wildly inappropriate. They literally ask, who does that? To invite us to share in their outrage. By branding it horribly sinister, they're implying a dark, calculated, hidden motive behind what most would just view as public mourning. It essentially weaponizes the concept of grief itself.
Section 4. A plea to the president. The political ultimatum.
Suddenly, the real target audience of this rant is revealed, and it shows us that these personal attacks have a highly strategic political purpose. The text abruptly shifts to a direct address. Mr. President. This is a massive pivot. We've just gone from a deeply personal breakdown of someone's funeral behavior to a high-stakes appeal to an unnamed yet clearly immensely powerful political figure. The author takes their personal disgust and weaponizes it, explicitly tying this internal drama to the overarching necessity to win the upcoming midterm elections. It's a perfect example of how internal, personal grievances are packaged and escalated to force political leadership into taking immediate action.
To secure that midterm win, the author maps out 3 extreme, non-negotiable steps. Step 1 is incredibly blunt. Kill TPUSA. They literally demand the total dismantling or shunning of the organization. Step 2 is the proposed replacement, letting authentic young patriots rally the youth. And step 3 is the personal demand, completely end any association with TPUSA and Erica Kirk. It is a strict, unyielding ultimatum. Cut them off entirely or risk the entire political future of the movement. There is absolutely no room left for compromise here. It's a binary choice presented right to the top of the hierarchy. Section 5. The future of TPUSA. Contrasting ideals. This part relies on a textbook rhetorical strategy. The author brands the current state of TPUSA under Erica Kirk as a monstrous failure, and directly contrasts it against their demanded alternative, a movement run by honest-to-God, authentic, super smart young patriots. It's absolute darkness versus absolute light. By painting the current situation in the most apocalyptic terms possible, and the alternative in the most glowing, idealized terms, the author is trying to force the president's hand. It makes their demanded alternative seem not just preferable, but undeniably vital for survival. The text then anchors its entire argument on one final, definitive premise. Charlie was TPUSA. No one can replace him. This is the conclusion the author desperately wants the reader to reach. By stating this as an undeniable fact, they're arguing that any attempt to continue the organization is inherently phony and totally doomed. To the author, the organization functionally died with its founder, period. This kind of rhetoric shuts down any debate about reform or improvement. They are effectively salting the earth so nothing new can grow there. So, to wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this to consider. What does this intense internal fracturing mean for the broader political landscape they're trying to influence? When disagreements inside a political movement escalate to allegations of sociopathy and demands to literally kill allied organizations, how does that affect their ability to organize, unify, and actually win elections? It's a pretty stark reminder of just how fragile political coalitions can be when personality clashes turn into public ultimatums. Thanks for diving into this breakdown with me, and as always, keep questioning how the rhetoric you see shapes the reality around you.